They took my seat. I took their company. I'm Owen 34, and until last Friday, I was technically employed at Caldwell Industries, a tech manufacturing company my late father-in-law, Walter, started 40 years ago in Austin. I say technically because nobody really took my job seriously. To the board of directors, I was just another trust fund kid who married the boss's daughter. They called me the son-in-law with no real job, usually whispered by board members who couldn't code "Hello World" without calling tech support. They had no idea what was coming. Let me back up. I met Lindsay, Walter's daughter, 7 years ago at a tech conference in Denver. Her dad was this brilliant engineer turned businessman who actually understood what machine learning algorithms did, unlike most of his board. Walter wasn't just my father-in-law. He became my mentor and chess partner. We'd spend years in his study, laughing at the board's incompetence over craft beer, secretly planning for the day when the company would need saving from the very people running it. While everyone saw me as useless, Walter saw something different. He taught me everything about the real business, not the sanitized MBA version, but the late-night troubleshooting with engineers, the unglamorous work of understanding how manufacturing automation actually functioned, the importance of knowing every employee's name instead of just the ones who could advance your career. He recognized early on that I gave a damn about the company itself, not just the stock options. 3 years ago, Lindsay and I got married, and I joined the company in some vague operations analyst role that nobody took seriously. The board treated me like office furniture. I'd overheard that exact phrase at least a dozen times. To them, I was the guy who married into money and somehow hadn't transformed into some ruthless tech bro. Perfect. Let them underestimate me. Walter got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer 8 months ago. 5 weeks before he died, he pulled me into his study, poured us both 3 fingers of his favorite bourbon, and slid a folder across the desk. He told me casually that doctors gave him 6 weeks, maybe 8, and he'd be damned if he let those parasites tear apart everything he built. Inside that folder were share transfer documents, giving me 71% controlling interest in Caldwell Industries. Walter had set up the perfect checkmate, and he wouldn't even be alive to see it play out. He made me promise to keep it secret, especially from Lindsay. He loved his daughter, but knew she didn't understand what it took to actually run a tech company. She understood marketing and branding and image. She thought business was an Instagram aesthetic. I'd seen her Pinterest board for her CEO vibes before Walter was even buried. We had everything notarized and witnessed by both our attorneys, plus a notary public named Rodriguez, who ran a small office in Cedar Park and had no idea she was witnessing a corporate nuclear bomb being armed. Walter even completed a complex coding challenge that day, debugging a recursive algorithm in under 20 minutes, just to have extra evidence of his mental competence. The man thought of everything. Walter's funeral 5 weeks ago was a corporate-sponsored production. The whole scene felt like a Silicon Valley version of Game of Thrones, with dramatic speeches and performative grief. Lindsay stood up front in her designer black dress that looked more TED Talk than funeral attire, and the board members watched her like venture capitalists eyeing fresh startup meat. I could practically see dollar signs spinning in their eyes. Roger Steinberg, the silver-haired chairman who looked like he'd been born wearing khakis and a polo, kept adjusting his Apple Watch and exchanging meaningful glances with other vultures. Kevin Murphy, whose personality could best be described as beige wallpaper with anxiety, was practically salivating. He was probably already mentally redecorating Walter's corner office with motivational posters. Behind me, someone whispered that I didn't even have a real position, just showed up sometimes and played on my computer. The thing was, they weren't entirely wrong. I didn't have a flashy title or corner office or business cards I handed out at networking events. What I did have was Walter's trust, a legitimate computer science degree from UT Austin that I'd actually earned, and an ability to see through corporate bullshit that would make a professional poker player jealous. After the funeral, Lindsay threw herself a coronation party. Sorry, I mean a leadership transition celebration. The downtown Austin venue had been transformed into what I can only describe as startup chic meets desperate for validation. Ice sculptures shaped like circuit boards were melting under LED lights, creating little puddles of technological symbolism on polished concrete floors. There was an actual champagne fountain, like we were at a tech bro wedding, and a DJ nobody listened to because everyone was too busy networking. The board members, who couldn't name a single factory floor employee, were suddenly gathered around Lindsay, toasting innovation and digital transformation, and other meaningless phrases that sounded impressive but were essentially verbal masturbation. Roger was holding court near the bar, explaining to anyone who'd listen how he'd always known Lindsay had the vision to lead. This was the same guy who'd told Walter 6 months earlier that women were too emotional for executive positions in tech. But apparently, pending stock options changed perspectives. Kevin found me by one of the melting circuit board sculptures. He was holding a craft beer and wearing the kind of smile that made you check if your laptop was still in your bag. He got way too close, his IPA breath competing with his cologne in an olfactory attack, and said something about how it was hell of a night. Then he patted my back, with that patronizing sympathy usually reserved for people whose startups just got acquired for pennies. He made some joke about my tough luck going from CEO's son-in-law to whatever it was I did there, laughing at his own mean-spirited observation, disguised as banter. I could see other board members nearby, pretending not to eavesdrop. I smiled and told him I was surviving and collecting dividends, which was honestly exhausting. Sometimes I had to check my email twice a day. He laughed harder, not realizing he'd just congratulated his actual boss. Behind him, Roger was watching our interaction with hawk-like intensity, probably trying to gauge whether I'd cause problems or fade quietly into the background like a good trust fund baby. The thing about being underestimated is that it's like having a superpower nobody knows about. While Kevin was busy mentally composing LinkedIn posts about poor Owen and his analyst job, I was calculating exactly how long it would take to dismantle his entire career. 3 weeks, maybe 4 if I wanted to be thorough. But here's where the story gets interesting. Tuesday morning, 3 weeks after the funeral, I was grabbing some papers from Lindsay's Tesla in our garage. She had asked me to get her insurance documents for some meeting. Simple request, right? As I opened the glove compartment, a folded piece of paper fell out. Austin parking citation from downtown Marriott. Date, March 15th. Time, 11:47 a.m. The same Thursday. Lindsay told me she was in back-to-back client meetings at our North Campus facility. Now, I'm not a paranoid guy, but I know my wife's schedule better than she does. She's never had business at the Marriott, ever. I stared at that little piece of paper like it was written in a foreign language, my brain trying to process what I was seeing. I took a photo of the citation using my phone's document scanner app and put it back exactly where I found it. Then I did what any tech-savvy husband would do. I checked our shared Google account. Lindsay's location history told a story that made my blood run cold. March 15th, 11:30 a.m. arrived at Marriott Austin downtown. March 15th, 2:15 p.m. left Marriott Austin downtown. March 12th, 10:45 a.m. arrived at Marriott Austin downtown. March 12th, 1:30 p.m. left Marriott Austin downtown. March 8th, 11:15 a.m. arrived at Marriott Austin downtown. This wasn't a one-time thing. This was a pattern, a very regular, very deliberate pattern, spanning back to January, right around the time Walter's condition started deteriorating. Every Tuesday and Friday afternoon, like clockwork. I sat in that garage for 20 minutes, staring at my phone screen, watching 3 months of lies unravel in digital timestamps. The woman who'd just inherited control of her father's company, who was giving interviews about integrity and family values, had been conducting a secret affair during business hours. But I'm a methodical person. Before jumping to conclusions, I needed proof. Real proof. I spent the rest of Tuesday doing what I do best, digital forensics. Our shared credit card showed repeated charges at the Marriott bar and restaurant. Always the same pattern, lunch for 2, always paid separately from room charges. Using a combination of open-source intelligence tools I'd learned in college, I cross-referenced the Marriott's public Wi-Fi logs with Lindsay's device MAC address. Technical overkill? Maybe. But I wanted irrefutable evidence. The logs confirmed her presence every Tuesday and Friday afternoons for the past 12 weeks. Wednesday morning, I called the Marriott. Told them I was trying to track down my business partner, who'd been meeting clients there regularly. Described Lindsay perfectly. Red hair, always carried a distinctive leather portfolio, drove a white Tesla. The helpful desk clerk confirmed that Ms. Caldwell had been a regular guest. Always with the same gentleman. Always booking conference rooms for private business meetings. I asked for the gentleman's name from their reservation system, claiming I needed to coordinate a three-way meeting. "Mr. Bryce Hoffman from Nexus Technologies," she said cheerfully. "They usually book the executive suite on Tuesdays and Fridays. Very professional couple." Bryce fucking Hoffman. Nexus Technologies wasn't just any company. They were our biggest competitor in the manufacturing automation space. They'd been circling Caldwell Industries like sharks for 2 years, trying to acquire us or steal our contracts. And my wife who just inherited CEO control, was having an affair with their CEO. This wasn't just infidelity. This was corporate espionage with a side of adultery. I spent Wednesday evening digging deeper into Nexus Technologies using advanced Google dorking techniques and LinkedIn relationship mapping. Public filings, SEC documents, industry reports. Turns out Bryce Hoffman had been very publicly interested in acquiring Caldwell Industries. He'd made several unsuccessful approaches to Walter before the cancer diagnosis. Then I found something that made everything click into place. Last month's board meeting minutes, the ones where they discussed strategic partnerships and merger opportunities. Lindsay had pushed hard for exploring acquisition offers, despite Walter's explicit instructions to keep the company independent. Using metadata analysis tools, I discovered that Lindsay's laptop had been accessing our internal file server at unusual hours, specifically Tuesday and Friday evenings after her Marriott meetings. She was downloading financial reports, contract databases, and proprietary manufacturing specifications. She wasn't just cheating on me, she was selling out her father's legacy to her affair partner. Thursday morning, I made a decision. I called Amanda Torres, Walter's personal attorney, and the woman who had helped set up my share transfer. Using encrypted messaging apps, I told her everything. The Rizos affair, the business connection, the merger discussions, the data theft, the whole ugly picture. Amanda was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "Owen, you realize what you're sitting on here? Corporate fraud, breach of fiduciary duty, possibly securities violations. This isn't just about your marriage anymore." I spent Thursday evening creating a comprehensive digital evidence package using forensic documentation standards I'd learned in cybersecurity courses. Screenshots with embedded metadata, cross-reference timestamps, financial transaction correlations. Everything went into an encrypted cloud folder that Amanda and I controlled. Friday morning, armed with Amanda's legal guidance, I implemented what we called Operation Transparency. First step, document everything with forensic-grade precision. Second step, strategic positioning with key stakeholders. I reached out to Victoria Stone, our largest external investor, representing 18% of company shares. Victoria had worked closely with Walter for 15 years and respected his vision for keeping Caldwell independent. She was also known in Austin tech circles for having zero tolerance for corporate bullshit. "Victoria," I said during our coffee meeting Friday morning at a small cafe in South Austin, "I need to show you something that's going to upset you, but you need to see it before Monday's board meeting." I laid out everything methodically, the affair timeline with documented evidence, the merger discussions that violated Walter's explicit wishes, the data theft pattern correlating with Marriott meetings, the corporate espionage angle that could destroy everything Walter built. Victoria's expression went from confusion to disgust to cold fury as she reviewed my forensic documentation. "That little bitch," she said quietly, her voice carrying the kind of controlled anger that suggested someone was about to have a very bad day. Walter specifically told me he never wanted Nexus anywhere near his company. He said Hoffman was a snake who'd destroy our manufacturing edge and sell off our patents to the highest bidder. Victoria looked at the evidence package again, then at me with new respect. "This level of documentation, you've been planning this for a while." Actually, I stumbled into it Tuesday, but once I found the parking citation, I knew I had to be thorough. Corporate espionage isn't something you half-ass. She smiled grimly. "What do you need?" "You're 18% voting with my 71%, and I need you at Monday's emergency board meeting." "You have 71%? Her eyebrows shot up. "Walter never mentioned—" I slid another folder across the table. "He wanted it kept secret. Share transfer documents, fully executed 5 weeks before his death. I'm majority owner and have been since the day he signed these papers." Victoria read through Walter's documents with the speed and focus of someone who actually understood what she was looking at. Jesus Christ, Walter played the long game, even from his deathbed. This is brilliant. He knew exactly what would happen if Lindsay took control. The board would manipulate her, competitors would circle like vultures, and everything he built would get carved up and sold for parts. So, he made sure someone who gave a damn about the company would have final say. Friday afternoon, I set the trap with surgical precision. I called Lindsay and told her I'd found something interesting in our financial audit trail. Some irregularities in vendor payments and expense reports that might need board attention. Nothing specific, just enough to make her nervous about what I might have discovered. Then I called Roger Steinberg and informed him that, as a shareholder, I was calling an emergency board meeting for Monday morning to discuss urgent financial irregularities affecting company integrity and potential legal exposure. Roger laughed. Actually laughed. Owen, you can't call board meetings. You're not even a real employee. You're barely a consultant. Check the company bylaws, Roger. Any shareholder with more than 5% ownership can call emergency meetings with 72-hour notice. And while you're at it, check the recent SEC filings. You might find some interesting reading material. The silence that followed was beautiful. I could practically hear the gears grinding in Roger's head as he tried to figure out what game I was playing. Finally, he said, "What SEC filings?" "The ones that show ownership structure changes, filed 2 weeks after Walter's death, as required by law. Should be public record by now." I hung up before he could ask more questions. Let him spend the weekend digging through paperwork and panicking about what he didn't know. Meanwhile, I had my own weekend preparations to handle. Saturday morning, I met with Amanda Torres at her law office. We went through every piece of evidence, every legal document, every potential challenge Lindsay's team might raise. Amanda had been practicing corporate law for 20 years and knew exactly how these situations played out. "They'll try to claim Walter was mentally incompetent," she predicted. "Standard playbook for challenging share transfers. But we have medical clearance from his oncologist, testimony from multiple witnesses, and that coding challenge he completed the same day. Plus, the transfer happened weeks before his condition deteriorated significantly. We prepared multiple contingency plans. If they challenged the transfer, we had ironclad documentation. If they tried to claim the affair was irrelevant to company business, we had evidence of data theft and corporate espionage. If they attempted to negotiate some kind of settlement, we had Victoria's backing and majority control. Sunday afternoon, I was reading financial reports and board meeting transcripts when I found something that made the whole puzzle complete. 3 months ago, right when Lindsay's affair began, the board had discussed a potential partnership with eNexus Technologies. Lindsay had been the strongest advocate, arguing that collaboration would be better than competition. The timeline was perfect. Hoffman starts the affair in January. By February, Lindsay is pushing for strategic partnerships with Nexus. By March, she's downloading proprietary files after every secret meeting. This wasn't passion. This was calculated corporate espionage using seduction as the primary weapon. I called Victoria with the update. It gets worse. The affair isn't just about sex or even money. Hoffman's been running a long-term intelligence operation using Lindsay as an unwitting asset. Maybe not so unwitting. Victoria's response was unprintable but creative. She'd been in tech long enough to see every possible flavor of corporate betrayal, but using the founder's daughter as a honeypot was particularly disgusting. Sunday night, I stood in Walter's study, the same room where he'd handed me those life-changing documents 5 weeks earlier. His chess set was still positioned exactly as we'd left it during our last game. He'd been winning, of course. He was always 3 moves ahead of everyone else. Tomorrow, I'd find out if I'd inherited his strategic thinking along with his company shares. Monday morning arrived like Christmas, and Judgment Day rolled into one. I walked into that boardroom at exactly 9 a.m., wearing Walter's lucky tie and carrying a briefcase that contained the nuclear option. The irony wasn't lost on me. The same room where they had probably planned to marginalize me was about to become the scene of their professional execution. Lindsay was already there, looking nervous but trying to project confidence. She'd chosen her power suit carefully, navy blue with sharp shoulders that screamed, "Take me seriously." Kevin was typing frantically on his laptop, probably updating his resume. Roger sat at the head of the table like he owned the place, which, in about 10 minutes, was going to be hilariously inaccurate. Gloria Fletcher, our CFO, was reviewing financial reports with the focused intensity of someone who knew something big was coming but wasn't sure what. She'd always been the most competent person on the board, which is exactly why she'd survive what was about to happen. "All right, Owen," Roger said with barely concealed irritation. "You called this meeting. What's so urgent that it couldn't wait for our scheduled monthly review?" I opened my briefcase and pulled out 2 folders, one thin, one thick. 2 agenda items today. First, I need to inform the board of a significant change in company ownership structure that affects all subsequent decisions. I slid the thin folder across the table to Roger. Walter transferred 71% controlling interest to me 5 weeks before his death. Fully documented, notarized, filed with the SEC as required by law. I'm now majority owner and chairman of Caldwell Industries. The room went silent except for Kevin's laptop, fan whirring, and the distant sound of Austin traffic through the conference room windows. Lindsay's face drained of color like someone had pulled a plug. Roger opened the folder, and I watched him process the documentation, his expression cycling through denial, anger, and the dawning realization that his world had just shifted on its axis. "This is," Roger started, his voice strangled. "Legal, binding, and ironclad," I interrupted. "Amanda Torres can confirm. She helped draft the documents and witnessed the signing along with Walter's personal attorney." Lindsay found her voice, though it came out higher than usual. "This is impossible. Dad would never—" "Dad knew exactly what he was doing," I said, looking directly at her. Which brings me to agenda item 2. I opened the thick folder and started pulling out photos, printouts, timeline documents, the parking citation, the location history data, the Marriott charges, the file access logs, the Nexus Technologies connection documentation. Your affair with Bryce Hoffman has been going on for 3 months, more specifically every Tuesday and Friday afternoon at the Marriott downtown, conference room bookings under both your names, paid for separately to avoid detection on corporate accounts. The silence was deafening. Lindsay's mouth opened and closed like she was trying to speak, but no words came out. Kevin actually stopped typing. Roger sat back in his chair like he'd been physically struck. "More importantly," I continued, spreading out the technical evidence, "your meetings with Hoffman correlate exactly with unauthorized access to our proprietary databases. Every Tuesday and Friday evening after your hotel meetings, you logged into our file servers and downloaded financial reports, manufacturing specifications, client contracts, and strategic planning documents." Gloria Fletcher leaned forward, studying the access logs with professional interest. "These are real server logs, authenticated and time-stamped. I used enterprise-grade digital forensics tools to extract them. The metadata shows exactly which files were accessed, when, and from which device. Lindsay's laptop, specifically. I pulled out the correlation analysis I'd spent weekend preparing. January 15th, first documented hotel meeting with Hoffman. January 16th, first unauthorized download of Q4 financial reports. February 8th, hotel meeting. February 9th, download of Peterson manufacturing contract details. February 12th, Peterson contract goes to Nexus Technologies instead of us. The pattern was overwhelming and undeniable. Kevin was staring at his laptop screen like it might provide an escape route. Roger was reading through Walter's share transfer documents with the expression of a man watching his retirement plans evaporate. February 22nd, hotel meeting. February 23rd, download of Austin expansion plans. February 26th, Nexus Technologies announces their Austin expansion, using our exacted facility specifications. Gloria's face had gone from professional interest to cold fury. "You gave them our expansion plans? We spent 6 months developing that strategy." Lindsay finally found her voice again, weak and defeated. "You can't prove any of this means anything. Correlation isn't causation. I never intentionally gave Bryce any proprietary information." I connected my laptop to the conference room display. "Actually, I can prove intent. This is email metadata recovered from your laptop's cache. Deleted messages between you and Hoffman discussing specific Caldwell Industries projects by name, with attached files containing our proprietary data. the screen filled with email fragments showing Lindsay forwarding internal documents directly to Hoffman's personal email address. Meeting notes about client negotiations, pricing strategies, manufacturing cost breakdowns, everything a competitor would need to systematically undercut our business. My phone buzzed loudly on the table. I glanced at the screen and felt my grin widen. Victoria Martinez from our accounting firm. Perfect timing. I answered deliberately, putting it on speaker, setting the phone in the middle of the table where everyone could hear. Owen, this is Victoria Stone from Stone Ventures. I'm calling about the emergency board meeting. Are you available for a conference call regarding Caldwell Industries' ownership structure? I could see Roger's face losing more color, draining from angry red to pale gray. Stone Ventures owned 18% of our remaining shares, not controlling interest, but enough to matter, enough to make or break any major decision the compromised board might attempt. Victoria, I'm actually in the board meeting right now, discussing the transition. How does joining us by phone work for you? Perfect. I have serious concerns about current leadership decisions and their impact on shareholder value. Victoria, I'm putting you on speaker. The entire board is here, including Lindsay in her capacity as CEO. Victoria's voice came through crystal clear. Owen, I've reviewed the documentation you sent over the weekend. Stone Ventures doesn't support chaos, but we also don't support corporate fraud. When Walter was alive, we had confidence. When Lindsay took over, we had concerns. Now, learning about systematic data theft and corporate espionage, we need immediate action. I pulled out the final piece of evidence. Financial analysis showing Caldwell's lost contracts correlating exactly with Lindsay's information transfers to Nexus. Victoria, as you can see from the financial impact analysis, we've lost approximately $2.3 million in contracts over the past 3 months. Every single lost deal went to Nexus Technologies, using strategies and pricing information they could only have obtained through insider access. Victoria's response was immediate and decisive. Stone Ventures cannot continue supporting leadership that compromises our competitive position through personal relationships. Owen, as majority shareholder, what are you proposing? I looked around the room, meeting each person's eyes. Immediate termination of Lindsay Caldwell as CEO, pending full investigation of corporate espionage and breach of fiduciary duty. Forensic audit of all systems access and data transfers. Full cooperation with law enforcement regarding potential criminal charges. Lindsay stood up abruptly, her chair rolling backward. You can't do this? I'm not going to let you destroy me over some paranoid conspiracy theory about innocent business meetings. Actually, Victoria said through the speaker, as 18% shareholders, we're fully supporting Owen's motion. The evidence is overwhelming, and the financial damage is documented. Lindsay, I said calmly, these aren't innocent business meetings. This is systematic corporate espionage conducted through an extramarital affair. You violated your fiduciary duty, betrayed your father's trust, and potentially committed federal crimes. Motion to terminate, Victoria announced formally. Stone Ventures votes yes. Seconded, I said. Caldwell Industries controlling shares vote yes. 89% approval. Motion carries. The silence that followed was beautiful. Pure, golden, devastating silence. Lindsay's face cycled through emotions. Shock, anger, desperation, and finally resignation. This isn't over. I'll fight this in court. I'll challenge the share transfer. I'll prove Dad wasn't competent when he signed those papers. Gloria Fletcher spoke for the first time since reviewing the evidence. Lindsay, your father completed a complex algorithm debugging challenge the same day he signed the transfer documents. The medical records show he was lucid and unmedicated. You have no legal basis for challenging his decision. Amanda Torres entered the boardroom right on schedule, carrying additional legal documentation. I have termination paperwork ready for signature, plus notification letters for the SEC and relevant law enforcement agencies. The FBI's white-collar crime division will be very interested in this level of corporate espionage. Kevin finally found his voice, weak and defeated. What about the rest of us? Are we all getting terminated? That depends, I said, looking at each board member. Gloria, you voted against every decision that benefited Nexus. You questioned the merger discussions. You documented your objections. You keep your position and get promoted to CFO with expanded authority. Gloria nodded, relief evident on her face. Thank you. I've always believed in Walter's vision for this company. I turned to Roger. You, on the other hand, pushed hard for exploring acquisition offers despite Walter's explicit instructions. You ignored obvious red flags about Lindsay's business judgment. You failed in your basic oversight responsibilities. You're terminated effective immediately. Roger started to protest, but I continued. Kevin, you enabled every bad decision. Never ask critical questions and rubber-stamped policies that damage the company. Also terminated. Both of you will receive standard severance packages and positive references if you leave quietly. If you cause problems, fight the terminations, or leak information to the press, we'll pursue legal action for breach of fiduciary duty. Lindsay was gathering her things, her hands shaking slightly. Owen, we need to talk, privately, about our marriage, about what this means. There's nothing to discuss. Your affair partner's company is about to face federal investigation for corporate espionage. Nexus Technologies' stock price will crater when this becomes public. Bryce Hoffman's career is finished, and our marriage ended the moment you decided to sell out your father's legacy for affair validation. I handed her a business card. Amanda Torres will be handling all communication going forward, both corporate and personal matters. By Friday, the story had leaked to the Austin Business Journal. Caldwell Industries CEO terminated in corporate espionage scandal. The headline was beautiful in its simplicity and devastating in its accuracy. Bryce Hoffman's board fired him within 48 hours when the full scope of the corporate espionage became public. Nexus Technologies' stock price dropped 35% in a single trading session. The FBI opened an investigation into industrial espionage that resulted in federal charges within 6 months. Lindsay hired an expensive legal team to challenge the share transfer, claiming Walter was mentally incompetent. Amanda Torres responded by submitting Walter's coding challenge solution, his medical clearance from oncology, and testimony from 3 witnesses. The judge dismissed the case without even requiring oral arguments. 6 months later, I'm sitting in Walter's office, my office now, looking out at the Austin skyline. Caldwell Industries' stock price has recovered completely and hit new highs. Employee morale is the best it's been in years. We've secured 4 major contracts that Nexus Technologies had been competing for, including the Peterson manufacturing deal they'd stolen using our proprietary information. Sometimes I still think about that parking citation, that little piece of yellow paper that changed everything. Such a random discovery. Lindsay forgetting to remove a parking ticket from her glove compartment. But that's how secrets usually surface, isn't it? Not through dramatic confrontations or elaborate investigations, but through tiny, careless mistakes that unravel entire deceptions. Carlos, our security guard, brings me coffee every morning now. He always asks how I'm doing, and I always tell him I'm surviving and collecting dividends, which is honestly exhausting. Sometimes I have to make actual business decisions. He laughs every time. He doesn't realize I'm serious.